Good day, everyone. Welcome to Real Conservative Headline News. I'm your host, Nathaniel Rajkumar, starting off locally here in Trinidad and Tobago with Carnival in full swing. Yes, today is Carnival Monday. Minister of Finance, Devendra Tanku, says the season is a strong sign that Trinidad and Tobago's economy is gaining momentum. Here, Tanku. Speaking at Faizabad Carnival City, he highlighted packed mass bands, fully booked hotels, and sold-out Juve events as evidence that economic activity is on the rise. Minister Tanku emphasized that Carnival drives income across a wide range of sectors. Now, he's correct to an extent, you know. He praised both public and private stakeholders for their organization, ingenuity, and dedication in making the celebration a success. The minister said government is committed to continued investment in cultural events, ensuring that there are options for all price ranges, including free performances like Flavor Village at the Queen's Park Savannah. Now, of course, we all know, just like with everything else, UNC invests a whole lot more in anything that they are doing here in Trinidad and Tobago, in spite of certain errors that they are making, like with the taxes and the fees and the fines and so forth. But in this case, I had to once again, I had to put Tanku in his place, in other words. So I said, once upon a time, not long ago, PNM used to make these same outrageous claims because people at this point in time, the reality is there's no economic progress in Trinidad just yet. And time to come it will, I do believe so, especially with the reopening of Petrotrin and so forth. In spite of these fines and taxes and fees, there is going to be economic progress. And once the government continues to increase the salaries of the middle-class public servants. But getting back to my response, I said once upon a time, not long ago, PNM used to make these same outrageous claims while the population continued to endure poverty and unemployment and extremely high cost of living. Things are extremely expensive for us still, people, and yet salaries are ancient at this point in time. Salaries haven't been increased in Trinidad and Tobago in a lot of different areas for a very long time. I have highlighted many of the significant achievements made by the Kamla Persad administration. That's the difference between me and people like Marshall Walker and so forth. During these past few months, including the decision to reopen Petrotrin, but Tanku continues to remain detached from reality. All the good that this administration is doing is being overshadowed by new taxes, fines, fees, and widespread unemployment. They're taking too long to rehire individuals that lost their jobs in the forestry division, in the who worked with CPEP and URP. Now, I recommended that those URP and CPEP should have been shut down and replaced with a program under the Ministry of Works. And all that has been done, you know, wonderful. I'm not saying that they took my advice, but it was wonderful what it did, because the contractors were unnecessary. But now they're taking too long to hire new individuals to fulfill the duties of maintaining Trinidad and Tobago even in our communities. We the people also have to tolerate a Minister of Homeland Security who thinks he's still a police officer. Even Gary Griffith had to once again criticize the statements, the public statements being made by Roger Alexander. I am beseeching the Prime Minister, genuinely, I am beseeching the Prime Minister to make the harsh but right decision. Relieve both Tanku and Alexander of their respective positions. President General of the Oilfield Workers Trade Union, OWTU, Ansel Roger, says the union is seeking to amicably resolve millions of dollars in debt accumulated during its multiple failed attempts to acquire the Point-A-Pierre refinery through its company Patriotic Energies and Technologies. You should not even try to make that bid while PNM was in office. You just wasted that money, basically. The OWTU, the country's largest union, accumulated close to $40 million in debt and has 2 judgments against it. My goodness. One by professional service firm Deloitte, and another by KCL Capital Market Brokers Limited. Guardian Media understands the union is still hopeful for further collaboration on the refinery under the Kamla Persad business administration, but time has passed since the judgments. Guardian Media was informed that 5 of the OWTU's properties and financial assets, which it used as collateral to engage this KCL capital, have been earmarked to be disposed of to pay off the debt. Among the properties used as collateral is OWTU's headquarters in San Fernando. Well, to be fair, they were trying to save our refinery from being sold completely to foreign nations and foreign companies. The PNM wasn't trying to have a partnership like how UNC is having a partnership with the Indian company and so forth. They basically were willing to just sell our refinery to Nigeria and I think even some other individual from India. So basically what the OWTU was doing was trying to preserve our ownership of our refinery. I think the UNC should try to assist them. Honestly speaking, I think they should. Guyana's government has moved to operationalize a raft of fiscal incentives and tax relief measures. You see the difference between Trinidad, Guyana? You see the difference between Kamla and Irfan Ali? All right. Guyana's government has moved to operationalize a raft of fiscal incentives and tax relief measures after Senior Minister in the Office of the President with responsibility for finance, Dr. Ashley Singh, successfully piloted the Fiscal Enactment Amendment Bill 2026 through the National Assembly following the conclusion of consideration of estimates of expenditure on Friday. The bill gives legislative effect to key policy interventions announced in Budget 2026, setting the stage for increased disposable income, reduced cost of living people, and expanded incentives for productive sectors. Leading the way by example, I hope Kamla Pasabi Sessa wakes up and tells Tanku, stop it, and reverse all those increased fines and fees and taxes. The Ministry of Finance stated that the amendments are intended to increase disposable income, reduce the cost of living, promote local production, stimulate people investment in private sectors, and provide targeted tax and duty relief to individuals and businesses. When you reduce taxes, I've said that over and over again, that is how you stimulate the economy, because now there's more spending power, more purchasing power amongst the members of the population. When you tax them, people, what you're doing is stifling the economy. Once upon a time, UNC understood and knew that, because they followed more of the capitalist Republican style of government, which is less regulations, less taxes. All of a sudden, UNC has decided to adopt PNM and the Democrats' socialist taxing type of policies. 3 additional solar energy community centers in Jamaica are to be established in fishing villages affected by Hurricane Melissa under a $9.2 million partnership between the United Nations Development Program. So at least they're assisting a little bit. But $9.2 million, they could come much better than that. And the government of Australia, that should be hundreds of millions of dollars, at least in Jamaican money. I don't know if that 9.2 million is US. If it's US, that is okay still. When completed, the UNDP supported centers will total 5 with plans to expand to other impacted fishing communities. 2 centers were recently delivered to Parati and Galleon Beach in St. Elizabeth. International news now. President Trump announced that member nations have pledged over $5 billion and thousands of personnel to support Gaza's humanitarian reconstruction and security efforts through his board of peace, while calling on Hamas to fully and immediately demilitarize. We all know Hamas isn't going to comply. And Israel, the IDF, is going to have to finish the job in Gaza. And if Trump really, genuinely wants to restore democracy and normalcy in Gaza, diplomacy in Gaza, he's going to even assist the IDF in completing that job. Now for the interesting facts segment, in July 2023, the famous Belt Zoo in Nicaragua welcomed an extremely rare albino puma cub named Itze, meaning gift of God. Born with a snow white coat and pink features, she stood out from her normally colored siblings. At least she was a girl. Veterinarians noted that albinism in pumas is exceptionally uncommon worldwide. Because albino animals lack protective melanin, staff provided special low-light care to protect her sensitive skin and eyes. When Itse made her public debut later that year, she quickly gained international attention, highlighting both nature's unpredictability and wildlife conservation efforts. Closing off now with a travel segment. Sicily, Italy's largest Mediterranean island, is a captivating blend of ancient Greek, Roman, and Arab Norman history, rugged landscapes, and vibrant, gritty cities. Visitors can explore the active Mount Etna, dive into the rich culture of Palermo, and relax on pristine beaches, all while indulging in world-renowned cuisine, including cannoli, arancini, and fresh seafood. I love seafood, especially crab and fish, and one of these good days might even taste lobster. Yes, I haven't tasted lobster thus far, but who knows in the future. Folks, that brings us to the end of today's headline news. Thanks again to everyone who continues to support my content. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay blessed and stay safe most of all. In Jesus' name.